Vikings, sea battles, and evil Machiavellians, Vinland Saga, even though being just an action anime, has its instances of great lore, great action, and heartbreaking moments. This might not be your regular good guy versus bad guy show, so expect some twisted scenes, and if not obvious, this video will contain spoilers for the entire first season. And if you want to see more top 10 content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Without further wait, let's get to the top 10 Vinland Saga moments. Number 10, Thor's death. We hate to be the bringer of sad news at the beginning of the list, but number 10 is the death of Thors, the strongest Viking of all time. As Thors and his men are cornered by Askeladd's gang, Thor still manages to put up a fight against not only Askeladd's men, but also a mutated Bjorn. One downside of this fight is that Askeladd won by pure trickery alone, even when he was defeated at the hands of Thors. One of the sadder facts about this is how Thorfinn witnessed the death of his father right in front of his eyes, and ironically, if he hadn't decided to venture on this journey in the first place, Thors would have been saved because then Bjorn would have had nothing to hold hostage against Thors. The fall of his mighty Viking was one of the saddest scenes in the anime. Number 9, Askeladd vs Thorfinn. Normally a battle for revenge is something that happens in the very climax of the series, and something that leads in with the protagonist becoming the clear victor of the fight. But Vinland Saga likes to take a twist on the regular cliches of anime, and in this fight it is actually Askeladd who plays the villain in the first arc of the story that comes in as the victor of the fight. The duel between Thorfinn and Askeladd has both the levels of emotionality and excitement. On one hand, we know Thorfinn is fighting to avenge his father, but even during the first stage of the battle, we can see how Askeladd is clearly going to be the victor. This duel taught Thorfinn a lesson on never to underestimate his opponent, and also there was a lot of learning he needed in combat. Subtly, this scene also managed to show how Askeladd was indeed the indirect mentor of Thorfinn. Number 8, the opening sequence. Let me ask you, what does a good anime need? No, not just a good premise, but a good opening sequence as well. And being an action anime, Vinland Saga delivers a stunning opening with one of the best action sequences in the anime. The opening features Thors, the one named as the strongest Viking of all time, toppling ships full of Vikings with his blades and fists. He also has Thorkell to support him, and the duo manages to bring down an entire army of Vikings without breaking a sweat. This premise managed to grip the hearts of the audience with its action and also show the potential of these two characters. Number 7, Askeladd kills Bjorn. Bjorn might not have been everyone's favourite character, but his death was something truly heartbreaking. His death also managed to show the themes of the show and the general mindset of every Viking, that in order to reach heaven or Valhalla, you need to die an honourable death in battle. This is the reason why Bjorn asked Askeladd to kill him in battle. Askeladd, on the other hand, tries to remain emotionless and stoic, but we truly know that he killed the one and only friend he had among the Vikings. It was truly a depressing and heartbreaking moment, and something that also managed to show the deep themes of the show. Number 6, Canute's change of personalities. Remember how we first thought Canute was a girl? Anyone would have made that deduction after seeing the way he acted. For some time, this prince seemed to have no recovery from his childish and girly nature, but when you're with Askeladd, you can change personalities with a change of seasons, with Thorfinn being the best example. Askeladd, being the Machiavellian of course, launches a plan to kill Canute's guardian and thus make the prince stand out on his own. It was a twist on the character and also served as a plot twist when Canute walked into the battle between Thorkell and Thorfinn and calmly claimed that he was their prince. Once again, the author of Vinland Saga proved how great he was at writing characters. Number 5. Askeladd's Trick. Here we have another scene of political intrigue. When Canute returns back to his father, the King of Vikings had to somehow plan a plot to assassinate his son. Askeladd, knowing this, launched his own mischievous scheme to protect the prince. He disguised a woman as Prince Canute and sailed along with him, waiting for the assassin to pop up. Just as he predicted, the assassination was done, but when the Vikings tried to save the fallen prince, they see that it was actually a woman in disguise. This showed how far-fetched Askeladd was and how he had that ideal brain for politics. Number 4. Askeladd vs Thorfinn, Final Fight. Some people never learn, do they? Same can be said for Thorfinn. After Bjorn's death, he challenges Askeladd for another duel, which once again ends up with Thorfinn's defeat. But even when we know the outcome of the battle, why was a scene like this added to the anime? It is obvious if you pay attention to Askeladd's dialogue. Just because Thorfinn managed to win against Thorkell doesn't mean he's an almighty soldier whose luck hands out every victory for him. Every time Thorfinn challenges Askeladd, he still has the rage of his father's death, and this is what results in his defeat. His rage removes any strategy he has, and it is easy for Askeladd to always take the advantage. This very final battle gave the very last lesson Askeladd would ever give to Thorfinn, and at the end of the scene, we actually end up pitting Thorfinn for his fate. Number 3. Thorfinn vs Thorkell. A barely grown assassin who grew up among the Vikings, and a man-giant who is the strongest Viking and once stood side by side with Thor's. What are the chances of that little Viking assassin winning the fight? But most of the audience was impressed by how Thorfinn managed to hold off his own against Thorkell despite his size and age. Ironically, it was his size that gave him the advantage. Thorkell was the height of nearly 2 Vikings, and his weight made his movements slow, even though they were strong. Thorfinn, on the other hand, was small, and with his size he managed to dodge many of Thorkell's attacks and even take a hasty retreat when things went the other way. Number 2. Thorkell vs 400 soldiers. Next up, we have another scene that managed to show how strong the Viking known as Thorkell actually is. Once he surrounds Canute's armies, they have nothing to do but take their chances with the Viking. And boy, aren't their chances very low. Once you put Thorkell in the battlefield and give him his 2 axes, he turns into a killing machine. You can see how he took nearly half of the army on his own, and most of all, seemed to enjoy it while he was doing it. Now, this battle wasn't just played for the violence, because it managed to reveal more about the character of Thorkell and how Vikings like him enjoy war just because of the brutality of it. Number 1. Askeladd's Death. Let's admit it, you saw this one coming, didn't you? Askeladd was the villain we wanted to love in the first half of the season, and the tainted anti-hero we admired in the second part of the season. His character was witty, brilliantly written, and still stands out as one of the best anime characters of all time. His death managed to give off a neat character arc for his character, with him sacrificing himself for the continuation of the dynasty and for the future of Prince Canute. From that badass kill of King Sven to holding his own against the armies and fake acting like a psychopath, this scene was what held the character of Askeladd at its peak. No, this isn't the heroic death you see with most anime characters, but if this didn't manage to give you off the tears for the death of one of the most lovable and favourite characters of anime, then you cannot call yourself a fan of Vinland Saga. So what was a moment that you liked the most? Let us know in the comments, and also don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and to subscribe to our channel for more awesome content. See you in our next video, anime fans!